Hi, this is Kat with Beadaholique, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make the Lacy Floral Swirl earrings featuring ZoliDuo beads. But before I show you exactly how to construct these earrings, what the heck is a ZoliDuo? Alright, so they are these cool little beads that we have, and they are 2-hole beads, and what I love about them is that they have this fun little paisley design, and they're rounded on one side but then flat on the other side. So you can really create sort of really dimensional jewelry. And the cool thing is that these actually come in a right swirl and a left swirl. So if I can draw your attention up here to one of the other projects that I had done, and I'm going to be doing this in a separate video, so if you want you can look out for the Orleans bracelet. But this showcases how you can use the different sides to create cool little sort of floral shapes. And they just look like little tiny commas or almost like little teardrops. So if you look up here, we have a couple of different of the various colors that we have. So I just love these alabaster pearl colors. They're just really, really gorgeous and nice and saturated. We also do have some beautiful jet and bronze colors to create some lovely little designs. And then over here, I just want to kind of point out we have some cool little etched designs. And these are just really kind of fun. They almost have like a little scratched surface, so you can make something that kind of almost looks a little bit druzy-like. And then we do have some other beautiful colors here as well. But I want to draw your attention now down here. So what I did is I took 2 red head pins just to kind of go through the holes there to really showcase the 2 holes and sort of where they sit on these beads. Now what I have here, it's the same side of the bead, and it's just going through. You can see it goes through the bottom, that largest portion there, and at the top at like sort of that smallest portion. So you get a really nice little look by putting together the ZoliDuos. So really, really fun. And the nice thing is that, so for the example of the bracelet that I'm going to do later, and it's 2 colors, so you have to buy the left and the right. They are sold separately. So you have to buy a lot to make this bracelet. But the nice thing is I wanted to create a pair of earrings where you only had to buy one side because we're just kind of doing a nice little floral swirl. And then you can just see by kind of changing up the colors, you really get a completely different look. So this one here uses some silver lined seed beads to create a little bit more of a lacy look around those ZoliDuos. And then this one, it's a little bit more saturated because I wanted to use the pastel ZoliDuos and a matte seed bead. So it's almost a completely different design, but they are made in the exact same way. So for today, I'm going to be doing this version here just so you can really see it. So we're just going to be doing an easy little earring hook. That's the only finding here. So we're just going to be sewing that into our beadwork. I'm going to be using the ZoliDuos here. And then I have some 11-0 Toho seed beads. I'm going to be using a size 12 beading needle. I also have a pair of Snips as my tool. And then I brought out 2 different colors of Fireline just because we don't get a chance to show these side by side as often. So I'm going to be using the 4-pound Fireline. And this one is the black satin, and this one is the smoke. So I just want to give you guys a chance to kind of see those next to each other. Now, we also have crystal, which hides if you're using a lighter color bead, but I just wanted to point out that I'm going to be using the smoke because while my beads are darker, they're not black. If you're going to be using a black bead, I recommend going with the black satin. So this one is the smoke, and this one is the black satin. So it's a very subtle difference, but it's kind of good to have on hand in case you do end up working with black beads. All right, so I'm going to set that aside, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a length of the smoke Fireline about 5 feet, and I'm going to go ahead and thread my needle. So if you have all of your supplies ready to go ahead and thread your needle, and I'll be right back to start our earring. All right, so I have my needle threaded, but before I start picking up any beads, what I want to do is I'm going to kind of pull my beads out and sort of make my little circle. Now for this particular earring, we're going to be doing 8 ZoliDuos. So 1, 2, 3, 4, just to make sure that they all line up and that they're all cut well. Go, and so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's what my little swirl is going to be. So now what I want to do is I'm just going to kind of separate that out a little bit. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go into the center hole there. And again, you just want to make sure that you're picking up your beads on the same direction because like I did show you, they do have one side that is flat. So if you kind of look at the side, one side's flat and one has that rounded side. So just make sure that you're picking up your beads in the right sort of order here. So if they get flipped around, you'll notice right away. But just want something to be aware of when you're kind of working with a bead like this where it has a little bit of dimension. You just want to make sure that you're sort of picking it up on the right side, going all the way around. All right, there we go. And now we're going to slide it down until we have about a few inches or so. I'd say about 6 inches on our other side. And now we're just going to take that and do a little overhand knot and just kind of pull that down. Now you don't need to pull it too tight. We're going to sort of tighten it up here in a little bit. And then we're just going to tie another knot just to secure it. And just make sure you don't catch any of those other beads. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to kind of lay it down. So you can see this is the back side here with all those flat sides. And I'm going to flip it over here. All right. So now you can see that my thread is coming out from where that little knot was. So the first thing I want to do is I want to turn my thread around. So I'm going to create a little thread bridge that's going to go over the little side there. And just kind of going back the opposite direction. Just like so. All right, so now we're going to do the first part and we're going to add one of our 11-0 seed beads in between each ZoliDuo. And this is going to kind of go around and catch the outer edge all the way. So this is just going to help to bridge that little gap. Now again, don't pull too tight. We're going to need a little bit of slack here because we're going to go back through all of these beads and sort of add on the little lacy bits. Go ahead and get my tail out of the way. And you can do these with any of the colors. It's really fun. And if you really wanted to, I did say that you could make this pair of earrings with both the swirls going the same way. That way you only have to purchase one lot of the ZoliDuos. But if you did want to, you could absolutely purchase the other side facing of the ZoliDuos. That way you could have the swirls going opposite directions for your earrings. So it's just entirely your choice. That's sort of the great little thing about these beads. All right, so we're coming to the last one here. There we go. We're going to go through that ZoliDuo and then through that 11-0 seed bead. So now we're coming out the 11-0 seed bead there. So we have our little seed beads kind of bridging the gaps for us all the way through. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm going to pick up 5 of these seed beads, 3, 4, and 5. And now I'm going to kind of skip over that ZoliDuo and I'm going to go into the next 11-0 seed bead. And this is going to sort of help to complete that little petal look. So just like so. All right, and we're going to pick up 5 more. And you guessed it, we're going all the way around like this. And I love these iris matte seed beads. It really gives a lot of style to the look here so that you can just sort of see it kind of develop. It's really, really pretty. 4 and 5. There we go. And what I love is these earrings actually work up very quickly. And if you didn't want to add an earring hook, you could always add a closed jump ring on the top. And you can make a nice little pendant necklace as well. So if you wanted to make a nice little set, you could do that. 4, 5. Make sure you're counting your seed beads. Don't want to skip one or add an extra. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to go into that seed bead there. And that completes that section. So I'm going to go up and go through the next 3 seed beads here so that I'm coming out the top. All right, give it a nice little tug. We want a little bit of tension, not too much. All right, so the next part here is that I'm going to be connecting the next sort of circle all the way around. So again, we're going to just be picking up 5 seed beads, 3, 4, and 5. So now I'm going from this seed bead to the next top seed bead here. And you can kind of like pull it up a little bit. So let me pull that through, and then I'm going to show you. There we go. So I was coming out of this seed bead right here. And if you want, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you go through the 6th one, which is the one at the top of the next sort of section. All right, so let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Coming out of this seed bead. And this one sits up a little bit nicer so you can kind of see how it goes through there. There we go. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, making sure that you're going into the next center one. Sometimes you might need to give them a little help to sit up a little bit. There we go. And you can see that it's getting a little bit tighter with the tension, which is absolutely fine. The nice thing about this is it is going to have a nice segment of movement here. 3, 4, and 5. There we go. All right, so you can see I've worked my way around. So I have 2 more that I have to go through. So I'm going to finish off this last one. 2, 3, 4, 5. And now this one's going to be a little bit different. So we've worked our way all the way around, and it's been 5 seed beads on everything except for this one that we're going to do here. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to pick up our earring hook. Now I want to make sure that you understand to put the earring hook the right way. So you're going to need to kind of face it towards the back and then go through this way because you're going to want it to sit. Remember how there's a right side with the ZoliDuo, so you're going to want it to sit the right way. All right, so then we're going to pick up 1, 2, 3. And then as though we didn't skip a beat, we're just going to go down into that seed bead there. And pull that up. And you'll be able to see before you do any more weaving, just to make sure that your earring hook is facing the right way. So now what we're going to do for security is I'm going to just weave all the way around and back up through that at least one more time, just to make sure that it's nice and secure. And this is why, if you want, you could use a thicker thread, but I personally like to use a thinner thread and go through multiple passes. I do think it makes the beadwork a little bit stronger, but that is entirely your preference. Again, I'm using the 4-pound of the Smoke Fireline. And you can see that you're not really seeing a lot of that thread. I only created 1 thread bridge so far. And the nice thing about that is that you can use a smoke and it'll actually sort of fade into the beadwork. So, but again, if you are using black beads, go ahead and use that black satin. It's actually a really nice finishing look. All right, and you can already tell my beadwork is getting a little tighter. Going around once more. And just to remind you, you can get all of these supplies that you see that I'm using here today at Beadaholique.com. The descriptions are in the notes below. So if you're curious about the color or size, if you missed it as I said it today, go ahead and check below. Also be sure to check out all the ZoliDuos. Oh, and you can just see that I just went right through the hook there. So these are really fun little shapes, and you can actually use them with a lot of the sort of multi-hole beads. All right, now if you want, you can go around a 3rd time. I'm good with the just 2 times here, making sure to not get my earring hook in there. There we go. Up and over. All right. So now all I need to do is I'm just going to kind of weave back down into my work here. And I'm going to go underneath, and I've caught a little thread bridge there. Oops. There we go. And I'm just going to create a big loop. I'm going to go back through, and I'm going to tie a little knot there. And that's going to help secure my work. So now I'm just going to go through another couple of beads there and trim off my tails. There we go. And you can, if you want here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle off my other piece of thread, grab that, thread that, hopefully quickly. Oh, good, nice and easy. And I'm just going to sort of put this through a couple of the other beads down here at the bottom. Just again, just to kind of move it along, just make sure it doesn't pop out. There we go. Through one. And I'm going to tie a little knot. Same way, just going under that little thread bridge. And I'm just going to go through one more bead. Alrighty. And just get your snips in there and snip it off. All right, so that is our little lacy earring. You can see he has a little bit of movement to him, but I really like that. It lets it kind of shimmer and dance. So that is how you can make a pair of lacy earrings with these ZoliDuos. So be sure to check out all the colors that we have, and we're going to have even more tutorials using these. So if you are excited by the ZoliDuos, be sure to check all of that out by going to Beadaholique.com.